Hello and welcome to Auto Repair Shop Truths. My name is Kurt Bennett and I'm going to be using my 26 years of automotive repair shop experience to guide you from start to finish, from picking the right repair shop and dealing with whatever they throw at you, and how to save you money and so much more, be it at a dealership or an aftermarket repair shop. I'm going to expose the behind the scenes workings and provide insights you won't find anywhere else, giving you the upper hand the next time that your check engine light comes on. You'll know how to pick the right shop, what to expect when you arrive at the front counter, how to handle the call that comes from the shop later on, and guidance on what to fix and so much more. Nothing fancy here, folks, just auto shop repair truths. So let's get started on today's episode. All right, that's right. Today's topic, extended warranties. Now, extended warranties, over the years, back in the past, I'd say within the last 10, 15, maybe even 20 years, when I first started working in this business, extended warranties were a pretty good thing to have. Today, we need to change the name of these things because they're not what they used to be. They should be looked at more like as a supplemental insurance, okay? What they're designed to do is when your factory warranty goes out, the extended warranty is supposed to step up and cover you for time or miles past the original vehicle's manufacturer warranty period. Now, you can buy these things in any number of configurations. Basically, it would come down, you could pick, they would have them as little as 12,000, 24,000, or there'd be like a limit of up to 100,000 miles. Time and mileage, either way you could get them. And each broader coverage amount would naturally cost more. Some of them would only cover certain components. Some would try to mimic a bumper-to-bumper type warranty, like your original vehicle's manufacturer warranty might be bumper-to-bumper, 3-year, 36,000 miles, whichever comes first. And of course, that's going to cover pretty much everything. I think some of the only few things that wouldn't be covered would be wiper blades wearing out, that sort of stuff, but batteries, brakes wouldn't be covered. And we'll get into more on that later. But your vehicle battery would be covered, whether it was the main battery, the smaller start-stop type battery, the large battery if it was a hybrid or if it was an all-electric vehicle. Those would be your 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty period coverages, with some exceptions. Some of these extended warranties, though, you could get them to cover only, say, like major components, like the drivetrain components. Drivetrain components are basically going to be like parts of the vehicle that make power and put power down. Specifically, it's usually going to be like internal engine or engine components, transmission, differentials, transfer case if you have a four-wheel drive vehicle, while others would try to mimic the bumper-to-bumper warranty, but would have a lot more exceptions. Things like belts and hoses, brakes, wiper blades, batteries, whether it was the small start-stop battery or if it was the regular battery. Now, if the car is a hybrid, of course, that's a major component. The coverage on that thing should be quite a bit better than what the normal battery would be, or the start-stop battery, those types of things. So the goal, or at least the perception, and that's the word here, is to mimic whatever warranty that you just passed out of with the factory warranty. Now, the thing with aftermarket or extended warranties, they're not going to cover any component that the manufacturer's recommended or the manufacturer's warranty would cover. For instance, many people don't know the vehicle's main computer, the ECU, or the brain, basically. That's covered typically on most cars for 8 years or 80,000 miles. Of course, that's whichever happens first. Some people may not drive a lot, so they're going to get caught by time, versus someone who's a traveling salesman, they're going to get caught by mileage. So, but it's 8 years or 80,000 miles. Another component that generally many people don't know is covered, but is the catalytic converter. Those are typically covered by most manufacturers for 8 years or 80,000 miles, whichever comes first naturally. In addition to a 3-year 36,000 mile warranty, most manufacturers are going to have some level of powertrain coverage. And all these things I'm telling you now is very important because we're going to touch on where the extended warranties come into that here in just a moment. So say for instance, some vehicles will have a 5-year, 60,000 mile warranty on the engine, transmission, differential, transfer case, those types of things, the powertrain. But for the most part, the reason I'm letting you know this is because gone are the days when you could walk into basically an independent shop, present your extended warranty and say, hey, I have a $200 deductible. I understand that's probably about how much I'm going to end up paying. That's gone. Now, some extended warranties obviously are better than others. At the end of this video, I'm going to go through 3 of them that through these years I've come to depend on. There's one I wouldn't depend on or wouldn't give Satan if he needed an extended warranty. They're terrible. But my goal here is to educate you, guide you, give you some tips and tricks. And these are things that you're not going to hear about on the nightly news when they do the little 15-minute whatever. It's just a filler, right? I'm really going to get deep into this stuff. So if this gets long, that's why. It's very important to watch this, especially if you're going to get an extended warranty. Now, some extended warranties, they may not cover everything, even if they do cover the components, say like a water pump or whatnot. They may not cover the gasket, as strange as that sounds. They may not cover the gasket, and they may not cover the antifreeze, the coolant that you need to put back in the car once you lose it when you do the repair. They may not cover things like shop supplies. Now, shop supplies, some people have issues with that, and you yourself might have come to a point when you were looking over your invoice when you went to the shop what shop supplies are. Shop supplies are basically an effort by the shop not to nickel and dime you on certain things that are needed to work on your car. One of those might be some kind of solvent like brake cleaner. A lot of brake cleaner is used in the repair environment, whether it be working on actual brakes, cleaning off oil. That's just a cleaner that's used to clean away oil, any kind of like hydrocarbon or anything like that. It also includes gloves, rubber gloves that the technicians might wear. You say, well, why do I have to pay for that? They've determined that it's, the shop will supply that for their technicians. It might supply things like fender covers, right? So when they're working on your car, they lay over these covers on the front and on the fenders, because as they lean over, if they've got buttons on their shirt, it could scratch the car. It covers things like that, rags, all kinds of miscellaneous things. Now, if you went to a repair shop and you got a water pump done, and then as you're looking through your parts list, you're seeing water pump, gasket, antifreeze, gloves, rags, solvents, and you're all listed out, you're probably not going to be too happy about that. So the way that they do it is they basically determine a percentage of that ticket. They'll charge that percentage. I want to say it's a 5 to 7%, something like that. Other shops do it differently. They may charge a little bit more, but in the end, it's something that would need to be charged to you, the customer, get your car worked on at that shop, but yet they're not going to itemize it all out. Extended warranties typically aren't going to pay for that. But I'll be honest with you, all the times that I work extended warranty tickets, as a courtesy to the customer, knowing all along that the extended warranty is not going to cover it, I don't typically end up charging that to my customer. I end up going in and taking those fees out. It's just, I think it's a goodwill thing, basically. If the extended warranty is not going to cover for everything on this repair, I'm going to do my best to help you out. It may not be that big of an amount, but every little bit helps. Now, of course, you're going to have to pay your deductible, whatever that is. We're going to get into the fine details of all that stuff here in a moment. Just suffice it to say, extended warranties just aren't what they used to be. So now begs the question, when should you buy an extended warranty? When should you get it? Should you get it at the time as you're sitting there financing the car? That's always going to be a subject that comes up. Or do you wait until after you buy the car? Do you buy it much later? We're going to go over all that. Most often, extended warranties are pushed during the finance portion of the car, right? So you're in the finance office, the finance manager is going over the cost of the car, you're talking about what they're willing to give you for your car, and you're getting the number narrowed down, and ultimately at some point they're going to say, well, for peace of mind, we also have an extended warranty that we're going to, basically submit to you. And would you believe, it's only going to add $75 a month to your overall monthly payment. And man, you sure don't want to not get it because, you're buying this as is, and when you get out there and 2 weeks later, if something happens, you won't have any coverage. Now, mark that. 2 weeks, 2 months, it's a scare tactic is what it is. I mean, who is not afraid of the unknown, and so that's a perfect time when you're buying this, one of the if not the second largest investment that you're going to make in your life, buying either a new car or a used car, they're really pushing it. But most importantly, you notice what they say, it's only going to add like $75 to the monthly note. Well, we all know after how long are they financing cars for these days? The interest on that $75. Yeah. Now, I always recommend to people, do not buy, if you can help it, do not buy that extended warranty when you're buying the car. And here's basically why. And it's going to really make a lot of sense if the car is used and it still has some component of the factory warranty left over. Most cars, say on Carvana, CarMax, any of the the more popular names of car companies out there that sell used cars, they typically are going to sell a car that has 120,000 miles on it. Something where an extended warranty won't make much of a difference, or it doesn't make sense for them to try to sell it. They're going to try to sell cars with 40,000, 50,000, and so forth. So on cars like that, there's still some element or component. You might even get one that has 24,000. It might have been a demo for the sales manager or the parts manager. But the point being is, if it has any element of a bumper-to-bumper warranty, the factory warranty, 3-year 36, or if it has any element of a powertrain warranty left on it, 5 years 60, 6 years 80, whatever. There's a lot of different car manufacturers will have different levels or elements of their protections for their cars factory. Then you're going to want to think seriously about buying an extended warranty, and here's why. So as you're doing the paperwork, your car, obviously you know the year, you know the mileage on it. The finance manager is going to put your extended warranty on your monthly payment. It's going to work it in, how kind of them. You're going to go down that road, and what you're going to not see or understand is the extended warranty coverage amounts. Let's say that you're purchasing an extended warranty with 2 years or 24,000 miles, whichever comes first. That's the extended warranty time frame, mileage and time. When the finance manager is selling you this thing, what he's not telling you is from the moment you buy this thing, the clock's ticking. The mileage is ticking. What happens is you burn through a good portion of that extended warranty where the factory warranty is still viable. So I always tell people, if you're going to do that, here's a little test. If you do run into a problem after you buy that car and it still has some factory component to it, some factory coverage to it, try to call in a claim on that and see what happens. The extended warranty knows right away, as soon as they pick up that phone call, they're going to see the year model, they're going to see the mileage, and they're going to say, oh no, this is still covered under factory warranty. You have to go back to the dealer for this. You see, so the dealer, the person that sold you the car, is on tap to have to cover that repair. But if you buy the warranty when you buy the car, not only the whole time and mileage that you're driving that car is the factory warranty wearing out, so is the extended warranty. So let's say you get to a point where the factory warranty has finally worn out by time or miles, and you have some of your extended warranty left over. Well, the mindset is, wouldn't you want to have the extended warranty start there, and then you got a full more 2 years and 24,000 miles left? You won't have that because a lot of that is consumed during the time that it was covered under the factory warranty. I always have a problem when I watch, I've been seeing a lot of them on Instagram and YouTube today, where the finance manager is this, I mean, I almost want to buy a snake hook or something as soon as I watch it. You know, it's like you feel dirty, you want to go take a shower right away because you know what's happening as they're trying to sell this extended warranty to this poor lady. You know, so you just don't know that that's the case. Now, there's some extended warranties out there that are pretty decent warranties that aren't sold outside of from the original purchase time. Now, that's done on purpose for the very reason that I just told you. Now, back in the day, you could wait until the car was just outside of the 336. You couldn't wait for the powertrain warranty to get close to expiring. But you could wait until, say, 2.5 years or 30,000 miles, then purchase the extended warranty for 2-year, 24,000 miles. That way you're tacking it on the end of the factory coverage. You get the best out of it. And there is still some out there that you can do like that for today. It is limited on mileage of the car. Some of them require you to buy it at time of purchase. And I'm going to go over those, like I said, at the end of the video. I'll tell you some good ones to kind of gravitate towards. And because if you can't avoid the consuming the extended with the factory warranty, then at least you're going to get a good warranty that when you do try to get it affected, you'll get a lot more coverage, a lot of less games and shenanigans are played, and you'll just be better off for it. Now, another very important point here that you got to be very careful of. Let's say that you buy the car, the 336 bumper to bumper is gone, but you might still have some powertrain coverage. Maybe your mileage and time is within 5 years, 60,000 miles. You have to make absolutely sure you understand the grace period. Okay, so the grace period would start right when you bought that car, right? So as soon as you sign the papers, you walk out, you're driving it. Some extended warranties will make you wait at least 30 to sometimes 90 days before you make a claim, and here's why. Let's say you're buying this car from the corner lot, right? Carlos's corner lot sales. And he's got good reviews, everything seems to be on the up and up, but quite a few things wrong with his car sometimes. And what he does, when you come and check the car out, and you might take it and have it checked out at a local independent shop, and they give you like a small laundry list of things to get taken care of. Carlos will come back and say, but look, I'm selling you extended warranty. All you gotta do is buy the car and you leave here and you go get that extended warranty to cover that stuff. Makes sense, but if you don't know about that grace period, there's the trap. So let's say for this example, you buy it from Carlos, 2 weeks later, you notice a puddle of oil on the ground. So you take it to a local shop, so confident, oh, I'm so confident I've got an extended warranty, I'm not paying a thing. Yeah, so take it to Joe's Automotive. Joe sees your extended warranty contract. He's not smart enough to clue into the fact that, and he probably shouldn't have to, that you haven't been more than 30 or 90 days, the required grace period on this car. So he tries to call in that repair. Let's say it's a leaking front timing cover, okay? On most cars, that's a significant repair. So he calls it in. So the extended warranty, they'll go through the whole process. They'll ask for your name, the VIN number, the miles, what's the customer's concern, what did you find, what's parts and labor, hold on. I see that they purchased this contract 2 weeks ago. They're not eligible yet. They've not yet met the grace period. So we're gonna have to decline this repair. And so the advisor calls the customer, tells them what's going on, and everybody says, oh, okay, no problem. I'll just put oil in it in the meantime, and I'll come back in about 15 days when I'm past my grace period, and I'll get it called in then. Nope, it's already been recorded in the extended warranties files that you attempted to get that repair done, and they're not gonna touch it. So be careful. Be careful about grace periods on these things. Don't take the car salesman word that you can just go get this covered straight away if something pops up. And the reason that's going to exist is because the extended warranties aren't stupid. They know the car dealers out there, they're going to sell folks less than stellar examples of an automobile, and that they would try to exact this warranty straight away. So they're not dumb. They're going to protect themselves. The trick with the grace period is most times you're not told that when the finance manager is building it into your loan. Most times you don't even get a copy of the extended warranty contract. They mail that to you later. So a lot of the fine print in these things, the things that you won't even know that for a month later or a few weeks later when you finally get that contract in the mail. So what I would recommend is, if you're going to do it, if you're gonna get it financed through the finance manager, say, before I put this in this contract, I wanna see it. I wanna look it over. I wanna see the thing, I wanna read it. And unless you're a mechanical guy or an automotive guy like me, probably not going to matter that you can read it, but maybe you can go through there and you can see some of those facets of it that makes you think, hey, wait a minute, this may not be a good deal. Or you can tell the car salesman, the person selling you the vehicle, say, look, this warranty doesn't go into effect for 30 days or 90 days. Are you willing to take care of anything that might crop up in the meantime? Because most used cars are sold as is, okay? And even if they do have that warranty component, it's going to be an extended warranty component. Unless, like I talked about, it's still within the brackets of the factory bumper to bumper. So whether you buy it when the car is being financed or you buy it later, what do you do when you finally need to use this thing? What are the first steps? Some extended warranties will want you to call them first before you try to take it to a shop, and there's a reason for that. They would much rather have a shop near you that is basically in a contract with them. They'd rather you take it to them. Some contracts, and again, this is why I talk about getting the contract and looking it over first, because some contracts will dictate that if you're within 60 miles or 40 miles of the selling dealer, you have to take it back to them for warranty work. And again, that's because the extended warranty has contacted and is now trying to work with several shops throughout the area so that they control costs, so that they have a direct I mean, the shop is agreeing, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit of what they're agreeing to, pretty shady stuff. They're agreeing to work with the extended warranty company within the confines of what they want done on the car. So when you do have a breakdown issue, make sure that you're not supposed to call them first, because many times they're going to want you to call them and say, hey, my name's Joe Bob, we're stuck here on I-15, it won't start, I'm having it towed to a local shop. They like to have some heads up on it, but more importantly is they may guide you and say, hey, look, you're telling me this thing is just gushing oil out. I wouldn't recommend you drive it, because if you continue to drive it, you might seize the engine, something catastrophic may happen, and guess what? It isn't going to be covered because you continue to drive it like that, even when you knew there was an issue. Now, when you finally do get into the shop, really the only thing the shop is going to need from you is the contact number. Now, in your contract, you'll have a bunch of numbers, obviously. You're going to have the contact number, you're going to have a customer service number that's generally designed. There might be a tow number that you call. There might be several different numbers, but the one number that the shop's going to be interested in is the number that says, in case of breakdown. That's the one we need in order to call and start affecting the claim. Now, we're not necessarily going to need the VIN, year, make, mileage of the car. We're going to have it, obviously, because you're towing it into us or it's there with us. But generally, when we call them, we're going to give them your name, the last 8 of your VIN number, things like that, and you're going to be in their system and everything's going to get uploaded flawlessly. Now, one important thing to keep in mind is, let's say that in a family, the husband and wife, the husband bought the car during the financing, he bought it, he put the car in his name, Jim Smith. Well, Jim's busy that day, so he gets his wife, Deborah, to take the car in. So Deborah shows up, stands in front of the service advisor and says, hi, my name's Deborah Smith. I've got this car, I've got an extended warranty. Here's the number. Yes, my address is this. My contact number is this, and so on and so forth. Be careful, because sometimes when you try to call in a claim, unless it's the person's name that actually bought the car, bought the contract, I mean, they will hold it up because the name is not correct. Or let's say you changed addresses. You need to make sure the service advisor has your correct address, because keep in mind, an extended warranty is trying everything they can to defeat that claim. They don't want to cover it. I mean, I'm just telling you straight up, they will do anything they can to keep that claim from going through. And if they can fail it on a technicality or something like that, they will. Even on some that won't fail it outright, they're going to act stupid with the service advisor on the phone. Well, I don't have a Jim Smith. On that bin, I don't have a Jim Smith, or I don't have a Martha Smith. And they're not going to say right away, it's Jim Smith, because they have protocols and stuff that they need to make sure that someone's not filing a false claim. The wife didn't get the car in a divorce, and now she's using his extended warranty to get repairs on the car. There's several reasons why, but just make sure the information is correct as to who actually owns that vehicle and owns that contract. Now, let's say that you get to the shop, I call it in. I'm your service advisor and I'm going to call it in. They end up saying over the phone that say, well, Miss Smith, she bought the car from X Automotive, so she's going to need to take it back over there. And if in your contract it says that, remember, it's a contract, so it's a binding legal document. If it says you have to do that, and we're 35 miles away from Joe Bob's Auto Repair, then you have to take it over there to them, or to the selling dealer, wherever you might have bought the car from. However, let's say you're outside of that mileage range, and they also know that even outside of that mileage range, there's a shop that will work with them with their pricing of parts and labor and all that stuff. They will then try to make it sound like they have a right to tell you where to take that car. And that is incorrect. By law, they cannot tell you where to take your vehicle at. Unless it's specific to that contract, you can take it wherever you want. Also, some things that they try sometimes, let's say you have a Chevrolet 1500 pickup truck and you put a suspension lift on it. Say it's a mild, it could even be an aggressive suspension lift. But then let's say something happens with the way the engine's running. Let's say that the camshaft has failed in that engine. First questions out of their mouths are there any modifications done to the vehicle? Or is any this or that? I usually say no, even if there is, because I don't want to have to deal with the hassle of going through it. But there's something called the Moss-Magnuson Warranty Act that they would have to prove to us and you that by putting that lift kit on the car, the engine, it caused the camshaft to fail in that engine. So that's usually not going to happen, because although you may not be smart enough to know whether that caused damage to the truck or not, I am. And I would always be your advisor, your consultant, and stuff like that. Now, the contract is between you and them. So I can only take what they're telling me they're going to cover and what they're going to do, and whatever things they're going to tell me, and I can relay it to you. It would be then up to you calling them with my constructive criticism about the situation and help you and guide you with talking to them to try to get something like that covered. Having said that, if you walk in there with that lifted Chevy 1500 truck and there's something going on with the transmission, and you've got big old 22-inch wheels and big old mudder tires on there, would or could that setup cause premature transmission wear? Yes. So you got to be careful with that type of stuff, aftermarket components and things like that, but that's usually going to be one of the questions that they ask. Now, the only time they're going to know any different, if what I said is true or not, in an attempt to help you, obviously, is if they send out an inspector. Okay, and for an engine problem like that, they surely might. Now, touching back on why they prefer you go to one of their preferred automotive repair shops, because what that shop has done, they have pre-agreed to not charge very much for labor. They have pre-agreed to accept remanufactured parts. They have pre-agreed to even accept used, even salvage yard parts on your car. So if, say for instance, they want the shop to use an aftermarket low-grade quality compressor to fix your AC system, then they've agreed to do that. And so they will always try to recommend you go to that type shop. It's just better for them. And although the shop doesn't make as much money, they do make a little bit off of it. But they'll always, that's the reason that they're trying to get you to go to a different shop. But again, by law, unless it's in your contract, they cannot tell you to go to another shop. You go to the shop that you feel is best. You can even go to the dealership if you wanted to, but it's your choice. Now, with extended warranties, we got to talk about the devil in the details. So like I was telling you about that grace period, that's a contractual fine print that you need to read and need to be aware of. Well, here's another. Let's say you have that thing, you have that vehicle, and the person that owned it prior to you saw basically an upcoming scheduled service. Let's say that a transmission fluid service was done, and on this particular vehicle, and it'd be a GMC or a Ford, with a 10-speed transmission. The severe service schedule, which means basically you're in a part of the area where the temperatures are more extreme, especially like city driving where there's a lot of stop and go, they consider that a severe service schedule. So what the extended warranty is going to do is it's going to look at service history on the car. Now, companies like Carfax, they do keep reporting. So let's say that the dealership, my shop down the road, they all have done service at some point in time. Tune-up, brake fluid, brakes, things like that. That gets reported to Carfax. And the reason that's important, it's not so much Big Brother, but let's say you live in Louisiana and you move to Saskatchewan, Washington. Well, if you're not keeping records, when you get up to Saskatchewan, Washington, and you take your car in for service and they think the brake fluid's due, but they're not sure, they're going to recommend that to you based off mileage, but you might have just got that done before you moved from Louisiana out to, Washington. So having Carfax is a good tool so that we don't over-recommend things to you. Because a fluid, I could do your brake fluid service for you today, and within about 10,000 miles, it starts turning color enough to where if I didn't know I had done it 10,000 miles ago, by looking at it, I might recommend that you need to do it. I mean, I won't have any record, but if I go into Carfax and I show that you did it 10,000 miles ago, well, that's a 40,000 mile fluid. So you're not due for another 30,000 miles, so I wouldn't even contact you on it. But when it comes to extended warranties and performing services on the car, that transmission fluid example that I was getting into, if it's due at 45,000 miles, and it generally is on Ford and Chevrolet pickups with 10-speed transmissions, that's usually going to be a pan drop and a filter change. That can get upwards of $700, $800. So the mindset of most people is, hey, my car's shifting fine, there's no need for it, I don't know it. Maybe you don't even know it's due at 45,000 miles, especially if you had an older vehicle with a 6 or 8 speed, where the intervals for changing those in most cases is 90,000 miles. I mean, at 45,000 miles, this is a relatively brand new vehicle. You're not thinking about such a service at that mileage. But by original manufacturer recommended service details, you're supposed to do it. And so let's say I, as a service writer, advise for you to do that. It's in here, it's got 46,000 miles over, you're 1,000 miles over, no big deal. It's $800, you'd like to do it. Nope, I'll wait till next time. Okay, no problem. So you get up at 65, 75,000 miles and all of a sudden the transmission's shifting funny. So you bring it in for a diagnostic, turns out your transmission's failed. I'm not worried, I have an extended warranty. Okay, so when we call them, guess what they're gonna ask us? Does he have service records of his transmission being serviced at 45,000 miles? And if you don't, there's a good chance that's their out. Remember, I was talking about how extended warranties are always looking for an out. Just a quick story here. When I was working for Saturn, a gentleman came in. This was back when I first started, so this was with the old Saturn S-Series cars. You may not know what I'm talking about, but it had a little 4-cylinder in it. Saturn's extended service plan was called SSP, Saturn Service Plan. And it would, you need an act of Congress to get something not to be covered with that plan. That was a awesome plan. And so I called it in. The guy came in, had to have it towed in. The engine was not running. Come to find out, it was seized up. My tech looked through the oil fill hole and saw what looked like mud inside there. I had to get the customer to commit because at this point he does have the Saturn service plan, but this is still in the diagnostic phase of it, so I don't really know what I need to call the extended warranty on and sell. We got to kind of dig a little bit. So part of the technician's recommendation was to pull the valve cover, which is the topmost cover on the engine, and there then you'll get to see the camshafts and the valve train and all this stuff. So my tech gets the cover off and it literally looks like someone poured Folgers coffee crystals all on top of that engine. Now this guy had a lot of miles on the car, but within time he was still good for the service plan. So I called the extended warranty company. First thing they asked me was, does he have records of oil changes? I said, well, you know, he doesn't have any history with Saturn, but due to the Moss-Madison Warranty Act, he didn't have to get it done there. He could have got it done at Jiffy Lube or Take 5 or whatever it was, as long as he got them done per manufacturer's recommended intervals. And I called the customer and he swore them down, he did. I said, well, I need them, so if you can go to those locations, or a lot of times you can just call them, they can email them or fax them to you. And I waited about 2 days and the guy came back with one. He came back with one oil change, so the extended warranty declined it, the guy had to buy an engine. So is it unfair for the extended warranty to expect you to do at least that much, especially if they're going to cover the component when it does legitimately fail? I don't think it's unreasonable. Do you have better things to spend $800 on if the car's shifting and running fine? Absolutely, I get that. But if you're going to have an extended warranty, you've got to do these services. Now, I don't care what it is. Now there's a company out, several companies actually. There's one called Wins, there's one called VG. I'm going to tell you, I don't so much believe in those products per se, and we'll go into that on another episode, but I would still get the service done, because especially if you don't have an extended warranty, and this is when I would highly recommend, if you do get these services done, is when you don't have an extended warranty. There's a cutoff in mileage. I want to say it's about 75,000 miles. But as long as you do the service on that component at the intervals you're supposed to do it, BG, in this case, will offer a lifetime warranty on that component replacement. So there's, like with anything else, the devil's in the details, but BG is a relatively good company to work with. They rarely, if ever, deny a claim. We'll get into more on that later. We're definitely going to be talking about services like that in other episodes, so stay tuned on that. Talking about details also, in some contracts, and again, you're just not going to get this contract and be able to look through it and really know what the jargon's talking about. I get it, you're a layman person. Me, I would be able to pick that thing apart. But you kind of got to be in this industry to understand what they're telling you in the contract. So I don't fault the customer for that. It's kind of the fault of the extended warranties, the fault of the financing agent to not give you that information beforehand. In your contract, they may allow for salvage yard parts, straight up will come out of a junkyard. And you would think, man, no way, I want a new part, or at least a remanufactured part, because by law, you can't call something new if it's got any component of the original part that was used. And that's why a lot of you'll have varying grades of alternators and starters. You know, there's I think for AutoZone, there's Durlast Gold, but then they'll have other levels that cost less. Well, because they rebuild them. Some rebuilders, and I'm not saying AutoZone, I'm saying some rebuilders of these alternators and starters and so forth, they'll end up finding just what caused that starter to fail, replace that one part, clean it up, spray paint it, remanufactured unit. While others might just use the shell halves of the alternator, they may just crack it open like an egg, replace everything in it, put it back together, clean it up real nice. That's practically new, but they have to call it remanufactured. And then there is new. You can get new. But extended warranties typically they'll try a pitch first. They'll try to pitch it to the service advisor. Hey, can you go any lower on that part price? And I would normally say no, because this is a brand new part. I mean, it's being put on by ASE certified technicians. I've got coverage on it, nationwide coverage, things like that. And so the next step would be where they would say, well, if you can't help us out on the price, then by his contract, I can send you a part. Now, they may still try to send me a remanufactured part, just like what I'm trying to put on there myself, but I won't let them do it because they will search the internet, Amazon, everywhere to find the lowest part they can. By the time they send it to me, which could be days later, I put it on, start the car, it doesn't work. It's bad out of the box. I've got to take it back off, send it back. Oh, no problem, we'll send you another one. They don't care, they'll send me 7 of them. They don't care until they get a good one. So we typically don't allow that. And then they'll hit us up for labor. They'll say, well, look, your labor rate's 160. We checked the zip code in your area and most shops, they don't know. They're just throwing this number out there, but most shops are only charging $100 an hour. Will you be willing to work with us on the labor with that? Nope, my labor rate's 160. That's a fair price to pay my ASE certified technician. Okay, well, by his contract. Okay, so by the time the dust settles, we're not taking their parts. We're not gonna work with them on labor. So what does that mean? That's where the word supplemental insurance is better used for this type of contract versus extended warranty. Because in the end, they're not gonna cover the whole job. They're gonna cover a good majority of it, a good portion of it, but then you, the customer, are gonna have to take up what they did not cover. You're gonna pay the difference in labor that they were not willing to pay. I mean, they'll beat us even up on time of how long. If the book calls, it takes 1 hour to change out your alternator. Hey, can you work with us? Maybe just do half an hour. You know, it's like, it's a barter, and no, we just don't do that. So it's worse with some extended warranties, not so bad with others. Again, I'm going to give you some names of some extended warranties that you can call or consider when you're getting your new or used car purchase. But definitely, you should not walk in there thinking that you're going to pay a $100 deductible and walk out. That's just not going to happen. Now, some of the details again will be where perhaps they cover a module. Let's say that your ABS, your anti-lock braking system modules failed. They may pay for the replacement of it, parts and labor, again, some level of that, but they may not pay for the program. Now, this is an important facet of extended warranties, especially today, because Corvettes out there, no less than 30 computers throughout. They got computers for the door windows. So, I mean, there's all kinds of computers in these cars today. There's all kinds of modules. They have CAN networks. All kinds of, these things are not getting easier to work around, they're getting harder. Some extended warranties will not cover the programming once that module is replaced. Now, to give you some idea of what I'm talking about, a lot of modules come dumb, okay? It's just a box with some circuitry in it. You have to install it. A lot of times you will basically clone the information that is in your old module and then download it onto the new module. And then you'll have to basically introduce it to the car, do some kind of configuration or something like that. The reason they do that is because let's say that you bought a Lexus 460. I also bought a Lexus 460, but I did not get the heated seats, vibrating seats, tells your fortune seats. You know, I did not get that option. You did. And so when you put a new module in there that's dumb and you clone it, you basically are telling it all the features that your car came with so it can now process signals coming in, send them out, and things like that. Some extended warranties are not covering that. And why that's important is because some of these module programs can get as high as $350, $450, and so you're going to be left holding the bag with that. I've talked about fluids, gaskets. Again, don't be shocked when you're called and you know you've got some major money to put out because they just don't cover everything like you think they would. A lot of electrical components, batteries for sure. It is few and far in between that I've ever seen an extended warranty. Few ever cover the car's main battery. Even fewer are some vehicles that have the start-stop feature. There's a little smaller battery, usually in the footwell inside the passenger compartment. used primarily for that start-stop feature. Talked about, basically hybrid cars. That battery's typically covered, and that one I believe there's going to be a longer coverage period than what most of the time frames are, 336 or whatnot. The key to understand here is most of the electrical components like that, your shocks, your belts, hoses, those types of things are not going to be covered. Now on some repairs for extended warranties, it usually depends if the repair is very costly and very involved. So what I mean by that is if you bring your car in, there's a starter or alternator to be changed out, that's usually not going to cause the trigger to be pulled on this. But if it's a large repair, or more importantly, is if you're very close to going outside of your extended warranty by miles or time, and it's a large repair, they're definitely going to send out someone called an adjuster. Now this guy is more or less an independent guy. He works the area, and he'll go to several different shops and work for several different extended warranty companies. And he goes out to the shop and he's basically just using his eyes and his mechanical understanding to listen to what the technician's saying that we found on the car, and then he's going to relay yay or nay to the extended warranty company. Now the problem with that sometimes is that the adjuster, he may take 2 to 3, 5 days I've seen to get out. And then once he makes his findings, he doesn't approve anything while he's out there. He just relays his findings back to the extended warranty company. And they may take a day or two to mull it over, and then they'll finally call. And then of course now you have the repair time if they approve. So the adjuster is a facet of it. That's going to be kind of a common thing between extended warranties. It's just one of those parts that you just more or less just need to know about and be expectant of. Now let's say things aren't going basically according to plan, and in actuality you're not real comfortable with the whole situation. I, as a service provider, am going to pass on to you what they've told me we're covering, how much they're willing to pay towards it, and what your cost of it is going to be. As I mentioned earlier, it's a contract, right? It's not a contract between me and you or me and them. It's a contract between you and them. Although your contract does say they're allowed to send parts and so forth, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. I mean, I've always, and I have done it several times, and I've actually had a good percentage of times where it worked out good for the customer, where I educate the customer fully on what's going on, and they're naturally upset. I would be too. In the finance office, when you're buying the car, they never told you all this stuff was going to happen. So this is the first time you're hearing about it. I don't fault the customer for that at all. I don't get upset that they're upset. I just try to help them at that point understand, well, here's next steps. You can call the extended warranty company and tell them how pissed off you are. And then you can use all the information I gave to you. Sometimes when they're not willing to cover something, and I had this happen to me not too long back, we had to take off a part to get the part that had failed off to replace it. Well, there was a gasket that was part of that job. It was an intake manifold gasket, and it's in the repair procedures. If you look it up in the labor time guide, it instructs you to take this off and so forth. The original insurance adjuster had said that, well, if it's nothing wrong with it, then we're not going to replace it. It's not covered under their contract. I had a feeling about it, but I don't know if I got a newbie on the other end of the line, but I let the customer know that, and they called, and sure enough, they called back, and it was a different guy. And he said, yeah, of course, yeah, we're going to cover that. So now I wouldn't just give up so easy and then call the customer and say, hey, you need to fight this battle. I fought that battle, and they were pretty adamant about not covering it. So I was somewhat shocked when it was. Positive for the extended warranty company is they know 9 times out of 10 customers do not know what the contract says. If you have it, it's a good time to maybe poke your head around in there and kind of look at that specific area and see what it says in there for real, so that they don't snow you, because they certainly could. I mean, ignorance is bliss, and it works for them if you're ignorant about it. But the key point here is the shop certainly doesn't know. I mean, I don't know what your contract says in it. And even if I did have that contract in front of me, the automotive repair shop is a dynamic, hectic environment. I honestly don't have time to go down and proofread what all was included in your contract. I have done that before. It is time consuming. And we almost always get back to the base, the square, root is it's not covered. And they can do this, Get in there and kind of look around, see what the contract says. So when you do call them, you have a little bit extra ammunition. And I'm always going to give you what I can in regards to trying to help you with the conversation. I even one time did I was on hold, or I was on three-way, but I was on mute. And the customer, I acted like I was the husband in the affair, And I was basically, guiding her on what she needed to say, and we got it taken care of. So yeah, just be worried about what your contract says. They'll use it against you for sure. Like I said, they're always trying to find some way out of it. Now, I should stress to you, a competent shop, until all the dust settles, until you make your phone call, I get the phone call from them, I'm going to present the repair to you. I'm not just going to go ahead with the repair and hope you're happy with it. So what I would do is call you, say, hey, Ms. Smith, this is what they're saying. I'm going to hold on this repair. And of course, that's hurting you by not getting your car back quickly, but at least you don't commit to something and then things change and then now it's not what you thought it was going to be. So I typically hold off on the repair until we get till everyone has gotten involved in the process and we're all on the same page. Then I'll move forward. Or sometimes you might say, well, look, no matter what it is, I need it fixed. I'll just take what they're going to approve towards it and just go ahead and get it done. I'll fight with them. And of course I'll move on. Now here's where picking a good shop comes into play, especially with extended warranties. So there's jargon, there's terms that when a service advisor calls in your claim, there's things that he does not want to say. A lot of extended warranties do not like the word corrosion. They don't like the word leaking. So you come to me with a timing cover leaking, I call it in, hey, Miss Smith is in here, her Toyota has a timing cover that's leaking. Oh, well, we don't cover leaks. Her contract doesn't cover leaks. So that's what I'm saying. They're finding any little piece to kind of get out of it. On corrosion, you would want to say something like the circuit is failing internally. I can't argue against that. So, say a leaking power steering rack, okay? You'd want to say that steering rack is binding internally because without fluid, it could bind and it's a safety issue. You can't steer. So you got to find a good shop that knows how to call in an extended warranty. You got to be careful with terminology they use. Case in point, there was one time where I had he was an owner and he had been in this business for a couple decades before I even got there. And he was sitting in for the other rider on that rider's off day. And he had an extended warranty. And it was somewhat kind of ironic because I was working a ticket, almost finished with it, but because I could not get right on that extended warranty ticket, he decided to take it and call it in. Now, you would think he's trying to help me, but he's just frustrated that I haven't had a chance to get to it yet. So he calls it in and I hear him. We were sitting as far apart as you and I are right now between a clear glass, and I could hear his conversation. I know it's an extended warranty and I know it's a rack and pinion that's leaking. And he says, the rack and pinion is leaking. My eyes went up like this. I had the phone in my ear and my eyes went up like this and I was like, it was too late. They denied the claim because it was leaking. Now, had he told them that it was binding internally, the customer would have gotten it repaired. Now, here's the real damage in that. Let's say that they decline the repair today, and you figure, okay, I'll just wait a couple weeks and I'll come back in and I'll resubmit it. Nope, they've already got a record that you tried to call it in and get it covered and it was leaking. So he shot you in the foot. I don't remember what the outcome on that was, but because he was the owner, I think he did something for them. But at the same time, yes, you got to be careful how you call these claims in. Another example would be a gentleman came in and he had, I forget what year truck it was. There's a common issue on these Chevrolet trucks where the active fuel management system on it, which is a system that, say you're cruising 75 miles an hour down the road, it's a V8, the computer will turn off 4 cylinders so that you get the fuel economy of a 4-cylinder. And then when you need it, if you get into the gas to pass somebody, it instantaneously turns it back into an 8-cylinder, so you have the punch of the power of a V8. And they've had issues with these active fuel management lifters failing. The sad part of this is when they fail, if you don't catch it quickly enough, it can actually eat into the camshaft lobes. And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, just know that I mean it's expensive when that happens. And so what turns out though is it's not so much the active fuel management lifters that are failing, it's the system that feeds those lifters oil pressure. They call it the plumb. And this thing kind of looks like an intake manifold, and on the bottom of it, it has all these little electrical solenoids that open and close, and those solenoids will open to feed pressure to those lifters so that they'll pump up basically, and then turn them off when it's time to turn them off. Well, that plumb fails. So the extended warranty covered would cover my customer's engine failure, which that failure would be the lifters and replacing the camshaft. In this example, he had damaged some camshaft lobes already. So this was going to be a cylinder head off type job, pretty expensive to go it alone. and he had the extended warranty. Well, when I called it in, the extended warranty knew full well what the failure process was on these. So they knew all along it wasn't the active fuel management lifter that failed, it was the plumb. So they asked me, well, what is the oil pressure at the plumb? Basically, what are you looking at there? And I looked at the spec on it, and although the spec wasn't there, I told them a good spec, because they knew that if I told them the plumb had failed, then the engine damage would not have been covered. There's times where you're going to tweak what you tell these people because they're crooks, and we're trying to help the customer here at this time. Because let's face it, if the claim had been denied, the customer would still be repairing his truck. It's just going to cost him $6,000, $7,000 now, as opposed to $3,000. So those are the kind of things you run into. You got to have a good service advisor. You got to know what these guys are trying to pull, and you got to kind of yank the rug up underneath them while they're looking over there, you know. So those are just things that we know to do. A good service advisor will know to help you, the customer. Most shops today, back in the day, a couple decades ago, it was commonplace. The warranty at most repair shops was 12 months or 12,000 miles, whichever came first. And for many years, it's kind of changed a little bit now at the dealerships for some repairs. I think there are some dealerships that offer a 3-year unlimited mileage on transmissions. Of course, it's going to cost a lot. But used to, when they repaired a part at the dealership, it was always 12 months, 12,000 miles, parts and labor, which doesn't say a whole lot, because if you're paying for factory trained technicians and you're paying for factory parts, then why wouldn't you expect to get a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty out of it? That was how much they were willing to cover it when you bought the car new. It's been a strange thing, but yeah, typically it's 12-month, 12,000 mile coverage at the dealership. And then over time, what I've seen recently is most places now offer a 3-year or 36,000 mile parts and labor warranty. But here's what you don't want. Okay, and the shop shouldn't want this either. And I've made it basically a point of how I operate with extended warranties. When I call in that claim, it's going to be covered. The first thing they ask me is, what's your warranty? And any extended warranty requires a minimum of 12 months or 12,000 miles. And that's what they get. Because let's say I replace a starter on your car, and I tell the extended warranty 12 months, 12,000 miles. In your extended warranty, let's say within 11 months, that starter fails. Well, the extended warranty will cover that repair because it's within the 12/12. But let's say that it doesn't. Let's say it fails in 14 months. So you're 2 months outside of the warranty period that I gave them that we would cover the repair. Or I'm sorry, we would cover the repair. If it goes to 14 months, then now they're responsible for the repair, so you're not going to pay for it. Within the 12 months, I was going to pay for it. If it goes 2 months over into 14 months, 15 months, whatnot, if the extended warranty is still valid, the extended warranty is now going to pay for it again. However, in our mindset being the shop, why would we give a 3-year, 36,000 mile warranty on a part that they will cover for 12/12? As long as it's within the warranty period, we're going to cover it. When it goes outside, if the warranty is still in effect, they will cover it. If it's not, there's no coverage, basically. So, or I'm sorry, it would be within the 12/12 from when we put it on the second time. Tell your service advisor to let the extended warranty know that it's only a 12-month, 12,000 mile warranty, no matter what their current warranty is, because that's going to be a better deal for you, okay, in coverage. If it happens again, you're probably going to happen within the time you have your extended warranty coverage for. So you want them to be on the hook for that. To elaborate just a little bit more, let's say that you came in, you had the starter done, it failed within 10 months. We're responsible for putting the warranty on there because we told them that we'd cover it for 12 months or 12,000 miles. So let's say it lasted 15 months and it's still within your extended warranty period. Well, they're going to cover it. You're not. Neither are we. But let's say from that repair that it failed at 15 months, let's say you only had 2 more months left on your extended warranty. So let's say the starter failed the second time, 20 months. Well, we will cover it for the 336 or the 224, whatever our factory coverage is. So you're going to be good to go either way it goes. I hope you understand that. If you're not, just ask me questions down in the comments and I'll be sure to elaborate more. One other key is to make sure that the writer looks the car over 100%. Not just for your check engine light, not just for the noise that you came in for, but here's the key. Most extended warranties don't like us doing that. And so what would have to happen and what I would do and what you can tell your service advisor to do is, hey, I'm bringing my car in for this service engine soon light. Obviously, I have the extended warranty. I want to put that towards them to see what they'll cover on the repair. But while it's in the bay, when it's up in the air, can you look it over for any other issues that are there? Because I'd much rather pay one deductible while it's in. And that makes sense. But the problem is, if I call the extended warranty and say, hey, Miss Jones came in for check engine light, it ends up being her purge valve. What's covered? Okay, good. Hey, and while we had it in the air, we saw her water pump is leaking. We saw her oil pan gasket was leaking. First thing out of their mouths is going to be, well, she didn't have a concern about it, so we're not covering it. And then what I've done is say you come in 2 weeks later or a week later and try to get it covered. Well, they put notes down that I made mention of that. So the way this works out for you is you tell me when you drop the car off, look it over the rest of the way, whatever you find, call me back first before you call the extended warranty company. Because at that point, we can work together and I can add that as your initial concern. So instead of you coming in that morning telling me you just had a check engine light on, now you came in and remember this morning you told me you had a check engine light and told me that you see some oil on your driveway and you told me that you hear a noise. You told me, because then I can put those as concerns on the ticket. Okay, so now when I call the extended warranty company, one of the questions they ask is, what did the customer bring it in for today? Miss Jones brought it in for a check engine light. She said she sees some oil on her driveway. She said she sees this, she said that. Okay, what'd you find? You see? So now I'm going to get all that covered under one deductible, and we're going to get all this taken care of while your extended warranty is still in effect. You understand? So it's in an effort. Are we going to benefit from it? Yes, we will. But you're going to benefit from it as well, because you can get all these things taken care of in one fell swoop. Because what would happen, and they have done this, is the extended warranty may call you. Hey, Miss Jones, this is XXX extended warranty. How are you doing today? Hey, we see you got your car in over here at Joe Bob's Automotive. What did you bring it in there for? My check engine light was on. Oh, that was it? Yeah, that was it. That's a problem. A good service advisor is going to call you back, let you know, y'all discuss it, see if you want to get it taken care of, and then he'll present it for you. Hopefully you get it covered, and it all worked out. Now, one thing other to consider is when you're calling in a claim, there's almost going to be a trigger where it almost always generates an adjuster being called out. One of those things is obviously a large repair. You know, they're not just going to take it at face value. They're not saying there's anything illegitimate taking place. It's just with a large repair, they like to have a second set of eyes come out and do it. It's okay. It's common. It happens all the time. Sometimes they get lazy and they just want us to take pictures of the issue and send it to them. It's like we are standing in for their adjuster. But another time it'll happen is, let's say that you're a month away from that extended warranty expiring. Of course, their conspiracy minds are thinking, well, they took it in and we're getting ramrodded with all these last minute repairs. So they're going to send an adjuster to inspect that and verify all that. So just be aware of that. Now, when the adjuster comes out, like I said, there is time delays. There's things like that happen, but in the end, if you get it repaired and covered, that's the goal. Now, when you should buy the extended warranty. If you don't buy it when you first buy the car, which, like I said, in 2 of the 3 cases I'm going to present to you as far as the warranty companies out there that are viable, you will have to buy it at purchase time. But again, I caution you, see if there's any option to wait until the 3-year, 36,000 mile factory warranty goes out to come in and buy the extended warranty. Just tell them, look, hey, I'm going to come back and buy it with you. You might even want to pay cash. You might want to come in and say, okay, here's $1,200 cash for this extended warranty. Because, like I said, you're going to be overlapping the factory coverage with the extended warranty coverage, and you're going to lose off of that. So again, if you don't buy it at the time you purchase the vehicle, buy it towards the end. In 2 of those instances, like I said, that may be the case that you have to do it, but I wouldn't recommend you do that unless it were these 2 companies. I'm going to share that with you here in a moment. The other company is also a good company, and they go back as far as my Saturn days, maybe 25 years ago. Great company. I'm going to share that company with you. That company will have a mileage ceiling that they'll allow you to put an extended warranty on, but it's a great company. They don't suffer through a lot of the problems that a lot of the extended warranty companies have. So yeah, I'm going to guide you on all 3 of those here in just a moment. Maybe when you buy the extended warranty, maybe you're okay with having to pay for a leaking water pump or a failing starter or an alternator. Maybe you're okay with that. Well, there are some extended warranties out there that cover the big components, the powertrain components, and that's all they cover. I've had multiple people, and this is why I tell you to be careful what you do buy, because I've had multiple customers come, they present the extended warranty to me. It's a water pump, alternator, whatnot. And I call it in and I'm told, oh, they purchased a powertrain only warranty. I'm sure at some point they might have been told that, but again, you're a layman person. I'm sitting in front of you telling you, oh, I'm gonna say extended warranty, it's a powertrain warranty. Oh, sounds good to me. I mean, you don't know. So obviously he didn't know, so he was on the hook for his transmission to be replaced. Now let's talk about extended warranties per se. Right now, after having worked with a bunch of them, there's some out there that have like tiers of coverage and they're kind of silly names. One will be called Easy Street, and then they'll have Main Street, Route 66, you know, and of course each one is Easy Street. Main Street covers everything Easy Street does plus this, and then Easy Street or Route 66 covers everything that, yeah, it can get stupid real fast. And in the end, you're still going to have the contractual limitations if they can supply the parts or not. So there are 3 good extended warranty companies out there. One is MaxCare, and there's another one called Assurant, and then there's yet another one called Service Guard. Now all 3 of these, at least of this video, of my having worked with them, they're pretty stand-up. They don't fight a whole lot. They don't give you a bunch of hoops to run through. And then of course the third one I have seen where you can go onto their website, and I'll show it to you here, and you just put in your make, miles, you know, all this stuff, and then you get a quote. That one though, again, like I believe they have a ceiling mileage on when you can basically institute a extended warranty on the car. So those are 3 good ones. I hope I answered your questions. Anything that you might have, of course, put it down in the comments. Please like, subscribe, put the bell notification on here. I'm going to start trying to get these out very regularly. Again, it's more of a deeper look at some of these things that you might have heard of, some of the questions you may have. Why don't things turn out the way they do? I'm trying to help you in this regard, and you'd be doing me a great service if you would like, subscribe, and just send it to your friends and your family. Okay, send a link of this video, let them see it, and then of course tell them to share it as well. Seems kind of goofy, but I mean, if you got a sister or a brother or a mother or father or grandma, wouldn't you want them to know this? And this may be their only avenue. So get it out there for me. I look forward to the next episode. Thank you.